Here in Florida, we are used to certain critters in our yards and our parks and even scurrying around our urban areas. There are the usual birds and squirrels, but there is one ubiquitous creature that would not have been here 100 years ago, the brown dragon. This is the Florida Field Journal. Sometime before 1887, migrants came ashore in the Keys. These were brown anoles, the Anolis sagre. They looked around and liked what they saw. Relatives from Cuba and the Bahamas later joined them in Florida and settled across the state. They are now found as far away as Texas. Originally, the Cuban and Bahamian subspecies were different, but in Florida, they lost any distinction due to interbreeding. These lizards can change their color from an almost black to a light brown. The males sport a dewlap and display it as a sign of dominant behavior. The sexes are dimorphic, with the females having a stripe along the back with scalloped edges, and the males having short bands and spots. When the male sees an interesting female, he bobs his head and shows his dewlap. I guess she wasn't impressed. I call them dragons because at the insect level, they are immense, ferocious creatures. To a 1-inch insect, they are 8 times larger. That's the equivalent of a 48-foot lizard to human scale. Pretty scary. To add to their ferocious appearance, they have a ridge that runs up the tail to behind the head. I call this particular male Mr. Big. He has gotten used to me sticking my camera in his face. He rules a section of my yard from his throne up on top of a fence post. This shy female is his queen. When he is out on patrol, she will take his place on the post. They eat almost anything they can get in their mouth, including other lizards and even their own shed skin and tails. Unlike other reptiles, they shed their skin in patches. Yes, they do have teeth. Sometimes they have a problem with the shed. I call this guy Scar. I watched him for several days. He seemed to have a serious problem. He seems to be doing quite well now. Anoles are not invincible, although sometimes they act that way, particularly the males. Birds, mammals, and other reptiles see them as food, but the anoles have several defenses. They will defecate and urinate to deter a predator. Their tail will detach and continue to wiggle to distract their attacker. This is Stubby, and he lost a good portion of his tail. It is growing back now, but it'll never reach its original size. The brown anoles are everywhere. But before the browns, there were the greens. The Anolis carolinensis, the green anole. These beautiful lizards were plentiful here in Florida, but the brown dragons were more aggressive and displaced the greens, especially in urban areas. The green anole is rarely seen in developed areas, although they may keep to higher trees to avoid competing with the brown. However, this male has established a home in my canoe and patrols the surrounding territory. When I first saw him, he had a piece of shed skin stuck on his nose. Eventually it came off, but a scar on his neck distinguishes him from other green anoles that might be in the area. It probably came from fighting or an encounter with a predator. After watching these anoles over a long period of time, I realized that they seem to pair up. At least certain males have certain females that they hang out with. Since we share our environment with these little dragons, watch them a little closer. They are interesting creatures.